guys, welcome to episode 49. The black and blue team is ready to entertain you with Jiu-Jitsu today. Brazil's playing Croatia in the World Cup, so I've been warned to make sure that the episode, thank you Tom Dowdall, that the episode better be good, otherwise the attention is going to be drawn to the World Cup. So, we have an excellent program.
Yeah.
So
you just watch the score at the end.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, we're gonna. I have two topics. The first one is a little bit of a surprise. I teach this every so often in my classes, and hopefully after you watch the next 5 minutes, you'll understand why. So I'm gonna ask you. You guys can chime in, but John, you can chime in, and Enrique, you can chime in too. Guys, before we go any further, happy birthday, Mike Gonzalez.
Oh, yes.
Yes. The OG of Roll with the Fox. All right.
OG.
So, John, today you're Mike Jr. All right. So, guys, what are...
Guys, he's turning 45, by the way.
So, what are the worst positions you could be in?
Warm guard.
All right. So, guys, chime in. Usually the ones that
Bottom mount.
usually people will say is in Enrique's position right here, right? In MMA, this is a horrible position for Enrique, but, you know, the guys sometimes take some damage. So this is obviously, you know, back mount for Enrique is a horrible position.
Bottom mount.
Regular mount. Again, this is a horrible position for Enrique. Guys, by the way, it's Enrique with an E, not with an H. So, can somebody give me a worse position? Because I can give you a worse one, I think.
Split card.
Yeah, that is a bad position too.
No one but mounted. I wouldn't want to be mounted.
So guys, I'm going to show you a position that you don't see too much in Jiu-Jitsu or MMA or submission grappling, but it's horrible. So it's a mount. It's a subset of the mount. How do you get out?
How do I get out?
Reach. Let's bring my hand down. All right. Suppose
That I'm not a black belt.
no. Suppose you're a black belt, but you're 150 pounds and I'm 230,
Okay.
and I know nothing about Jiu-Jitsu.
How can you be a black belt then?
You're 150.
Okay.
All right. Now, guys, imagine that I'm getting a loogie ready as I'm in that position. So let's talk about this, guys. This I intend to teach every couple months, and I encourage all the high-level black belts to teach this as well. The reason for that is when people come to my academy, most of them are coming in for self-defense. There's some that want to compete, but it's rare. Some that come in for, to get in shape. That's a byproduct of jiu-jitsu. But to me, this is the worst position I think you could be in. I'd rather have the guy on my back choke me out than be in that position. And Enrique, what do you walk around right now? 170?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm 160, maybe slightly below that. And you could see he had a hard time getting out. And he used a pretty good amount of strength. Imagine if he was 130-pound female, and I was a 210-pound male, and I know the woman knows jiu-jitsu, purple belt, let's say, which is pretty knowledgeable, and he knows nothing about jiu-jitsu. The reason I'm aware of this, because I got asked by somebody from Australia way back, what do you do about this? And the reason for that is it was not a domestic violence or bullying case. It was sort of like, you know, when people are at a party and watching TV and talk about jiu-jitsu, and some guy is just like, show me, and does this. think about it, like it's horrible position. It's uh, it's very sort of demoralizing. I hate to be in that position, and I think we'll go over the counter very quickly, but you must know how to escape. The reason we don't deal with it too much in jiu-jitsu or MMA is because in jiu-jitsu you're used to progressing your position. You're basically used to either going to cross collar choke or attack the arm or whatever position. In MMA, the guy would be just outloading. So our escapes are geared towards that type of mentality, not sort of to a mentality where you have domestic abuse or bullying. But in bullying, this is probably more common or domestic abuse than, and you could have a guy that knows nothing, that has enough strength to literally do this to you, and you're screwed. Like I said, I'd rather have the guy on my back put me out than be in this position where I feel helpless. So, as you know, history of BJJ is about a smaller guy, smaller opponent, being able to take care of a larger opponent, even from bad position, making somebody that's small and think of themselves as helpless, powerful through jiu-jitsu. So that's what we're gonna do, guys. Again, if you're a lower level belt, guys, learn this. If you're a higher level belt, you need to teach this because we don't ever look at this position. But if somebody is in a self-defense, domestic abuse type of scenario, this would probably happen more often than a traditional mount, where the guy is just trying to sort of mount. All right. So, to me, this is literally the worst position I could be. So, when you hear, guys, again, this goes to everything that we learn in jiu-jitsu. If the problem is too big, so I have a twofold problem. One is Enrique's holding my arms. Two, he's mounted. That's a big problem. I cannot deal with it too well. Enrique was just trying to muscle out of it, which semi-worked at the end, but I'd argue that if the weight differential was big, he'd have a hard time escaping. So you break the problems into two. So I have two problems. My arms are pinned, he's mounted. So first thing I need to do is free my arms. Once I free my arms, then I can use Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu techniques, upa or elbow escape that you can do. So how do I do that? Bring your feet close. A lot, yes. At least one hand is free. Okay? Guys, just so understand, a swift kick in the ass can resolve a lot of problems. So what I'm doing is bringing my feet close so I have a good arch. I straighten out my leg, and I kick like a long push kick and arch my hips. I need him to put at least one hand on the floor. Now you know the escape. You weave in, clamp down, and from here pin the arm and leg on the same side. Bring the other leg close and arch as much as you possibly can. Come up, hands on them. Always hands on them so they can't suck you back in guard. Oh, well, no, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm already in guard, but they cannot posture up, they cannot bring you down, they cannot attack the collar. So hands on them. Let's go over this again. This is very important, guys. I expect you to be teaching that in some of your classes.
Yes. But I'll teach for the person on top.
When I get in a better position, I'll make you pay for that. So guys, again, bring your feet close, straighten out one, push kick long, and whichever arm goes, you need one. Sometimes, usually you get both, but you need one. If you do both, you can choose your side. If I do one, this is the side I go through. Also, get your hips high. Trap the leg on the same side, trap the arm, clamp down on it. Guys, don't do one of these where he swims in and you're back in the same hole. Swim in, clamp down at the elbow, and then just arch big. Look over your shoulder. When you come up, hands on them. Now, again, if this is a self-defense scenario, again, bullying, and guys, this is a very, to me, it's a very demeaning position. Again, it makes the person feel helpless. Even even if you have somebody that's been training jiu-jitsu for a fair amount of time, especially if the weight differential is, this position can feel very helpless. Even though you think you know grappling and you know how to escape mount, you don't know how to escape this mount. Enrique didn't.
I was almost out.
Yeah, you were. Yes,
Okay,
John.
so we have a lot of updates here, and a lot of people here really want to look into the belly down with somebody having your back. However, we do have a special birthday request from Mike, and he was curious if you can show the Cryangle to Enrique for saying he's 45, and another request, maybe the Mangeldome escapes
Oh, jeez.
against him.
All right. So since it's Mike's birthday, I will try to figure out a way to get into Cryangle. As far as the other ones, guys, I have a plan. It's very important we go through this because I know this is not going to help you in a tournament. This is not going to help you in class because nobody's going to hold you like this. But it is your duty as a practitioner to know this, so that way when a small female walks into your academy, you know how to show them this, so they never in that position. By the way, this works even when you're pinned like this on a like in a sitting position on a couch or something like that, because that's where it happened. It actually was a party where you, oh man, I'm doing jiu-jitsu. The guy said, oh, show me, and it's like, oh shit, what do I do now? So it's not an abuse, but it's like it just lit a spark. It's like, what do I do now? I thought I knew jiu-jitsu. Well, you do, but we never work on this. Just like we rarely work on kesagatame escapes or headlock escapes, because it's either you never subjected to it, or it's usually extremely good and then you caught, or horrible way you take the guys back. But this is very important. So let's look at it one more time. Let's assume this is, again, some sort of a bullying self-defense scenario. So I bump Enrique as far as he goes. Now, always trap at the elbow because you want to have a solid trap. However, if you do a poor job, and if this is, you might get hit. If you get hit, guys, that escape is the same. So if they're posturing up to hit you, you just do that kick again and again. Yeah, I can do it harder too. As soon as you can, guys, good trap. Make sure that Enrique puts his palm up. And guys, do not turn, just arch. Look over your shoulder, come up, hands on them if you need to, if you believe. Yes, now. Let's see if we can.
I'm good at Cryangle.
So again, if you're gonna get hit, make sure you do that kick again, trap the arm, arch, and you're free. All right, guys? If you're an instructor, make sure you incorporate that into your self-defense repertoire. All right, now, the next thing we're gonna do. All right, John, you're laughing. What's up?
No, I was just waiting for the Cryangle.
Oh, oh, so there was a smile of anticipation. All right. We got to get to that.
Yeah.
So, guys, the other thing that could be very frustrating, and this is not so much, this one will help you in a tournament or in a fight, if you're in an MMA fight. So, today's gi episode, you can do this, especially with, this is even more important in no gi. So, what happens is, when you, say, for example, in a fight, or in a tournament, you get basically either you pull guard or the guy actually gets a takedown. Well, guess what? If the guy gets a takedown, there is no need for him to do anything. The onus is on you to make something happen, not on him. He's up, he's ahead. Okay? If nothing else happens in that fight or match or whatever you want to call it, he's winning. So I need to make sure that I get something going. This is extremely important in MMA, especially because, again, if you have a guy that does not necessarily have good striking, has better wrestling, you have better jiu-jitsu. This is an effective way for them to stall you out. Again, if in the round you may get warned by the referee or whatever for the somebody to make something happen, but the reality is, if this is the only thing that happens, or only substantial thing that happens in that round, he's winning. He just won. So it is up to the bottom guy to make something happen. We're down to 5 minutes. I got a lot more things to talk about. So So as Enrique took me down and he's posturing up, and sometimes the guy,
Posturing up or-
your butt is up in the air. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this, and sometimes his hands are going to be under my arms. Sometimes it's going to be holding my, yeah. So guys, it's very important. You need to make something happen. So usually when this happens to one of my guys, I'm screaming at swim. What do I mean by that? I need to create an angle that I can have an opening. Usually what I attack from here is one of two things. Urigatame or 5-finger guillotine, okay? So I will usually use my legs to kind of push his hips away and also open my legs so I can pivot side to side. I need some sort of a pivot. So Enrique is giving me urigatame. I'd like to take that after. Let's assume that both his arms, yeah, he has 2 underhooks. So what I'm doing is using my legs to push him away and trying to create an angle. Now, 5-finger guillotine is very weak structure because the only thing that's holding him from posturing up is my fingers, which is weak. Not just by nature, it's a weak grip. So I need to make sure that my head, be it my chin or side of my head, again, chin, side of my head. Enrique, can you pivot so they can see? Again, either my chin or side of my head either confirms the grip or holds his head in place, and then I just continue to squeeze. So if the guy has underhooks, and this works even better with no gi. Okay, with the gi, you also have a cross collar choke. All right, but once I don't quite have it. So again, I need to make sure, sometimes I use my hamstrings to just push, to kind of bounce him back enough. And I just swim. Sometimes if he switches his head to the other side, I swim to the other side, and again, I confirm the grip with my head. So guys, we've done a 5-finger guillotine episode, so if you need the mechanics for the 5-finger guillotine, and it's covered on my BJJ Fanatics video too. Guillotine tutorial.
Yes.
So if you need 5-finger guillotine, again, it's a weak structure. Your structure is being held by fingers. That's weak by its nature. Always confirm the grip with your chin or side of your head. Either confirm one of the hands, okay? Or if you cannot confirm the hands because they're too far, you put your chin or side of the head on the back of their head. So let's look at it again. So I bounce him and I swim. I get this, confirm, and finish. Now, sometimes they headlock you. Even if they don't, still available. So when that happens, I create some space and I attack urigatame on one side. Notice that this is not going to have an effect because my feet are not on the hips. So as Enrique is breaking that, I switch to the other side. And once I'm in a position, guys, sometimes you may have to swim back and forth. This is what I mean when I'm screaming at my students to swim. I mean swim from side to side until you get a good bite that you can finish. Sometimes you may have to do it 3 times, sometimes 6 times until you get a good bite. Just keep switching until that angle opens up. It will, but you have to make sure that you swim side to side. It's very important for you to open your legs because don't drop your guard so where he just steps over. You have to open your legs to be able to create those angles. So let's look at it one more time. So again, I close my guard, I open, I swim. He takes it away from me, I swim to the other side. Sometimes he takes that away from me. And the third time is the charm. Tap. So again, this is one of the most frustrating aspects of jiu-jitsu for me, especially in Ogi, is when I wind up with the guy in my guard, however reason, maybe I pulled, maybe he took me down, and I can't make something happen. This I've spent years working on because it can become very frustrating and I feel the responsibility is mine to make something happen. This is a way to make something happen. All right, John, will we have any other questions or we're out of time?
We are out of time. There is one last question.
Is it related to what we covered?
It's a little sidetracked.
Guys, I usually try to copy the questions. I have a very long list. So any questions you have, try to put it on the thread on Facebook. Don't send me private messages, please, because we're trying to grow the audience. So if you send me private messages, you're not helping support that thread. You're not helping support, because if you have a question and somebody piles on, then that's a question that I want to answer the next time, because that's something that more people are interested in. If you're sending me private messages, sometimes they slip through. So guys, put it on the YouTube video. I usually check that episode for about a week. After that, I'll move on to the next one. So that's one way to get your question. I usually screenshot them and I put them in the general file, and we eventually get to all of them. Do I have anything else? Guys, support our YouTube channel, please. Make sure that more people are exposed to this amazing
duo.
The black and blue. The black and blue team.
Spanish, happy birthday.
Oh,
You'll get the
no. We have to do this. We have to do this. This is a modified Cryangle, Mike. Happy birthday. I hope this makes you happy. I know John is smiling.
Like, share, and subscribe for more.
Yes. We'll see you next week, guys.